Hi there, welcome to another painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can paint this chameleon. So let's get started. And I want to start with a size 0 spotter brush. Let's take some black paint and let's paint in the black of the eye. Just carefully try to paint that in. And if you would like to paint along with me, you can get the sketch in the description, link below. Okay. And then I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to switch to a stiffer size 0 brush. And let's put in some of the darkest values. I have this dark navy blue color. And let's put in some of these darker areas here. Just kind of following the sketch. And actually I'm going to switch brushes. I need a little more control, so I'm going to get a brush that's also a 0 spotter, but just a little bit stiffer. And then as I go, I'm trying to blend this paint a little bit. And as it blends, you can see it's got this beautiful blue color. So I'm just kind of thinking about where my darkest values are, and I'm laying those down. So kind of in the nostril, we could add that in very carefully. Then on the other side, it doesn't really present itself. But let's go around this eye. There's a lot of kind of folds around the eye, the darker color. Then along the mouth here, we can make this a dark area. And then kind of coming underneath his beard. You can kind of turn the brush so that those little spikes are easily made by the shape of your brush. Okay, and then I'm going to put these folds in. Okay, so now I want to switch to, I have an acrylic marker, and this is just a blue shade. And I'm going to take the smaller, more detailed point, and I'm going to do some outlining with this acrylic marker. Okay, I'm just trying to go around some of these lines that are in the sketch. And then I want to make the scales. So I'm using the acrylic marker for this because it would just be really difficult to make all these tiny circles with the brush. So this is kind of a hack or an easier way to kind of get that effect. Okay, I'm going to kind of go around here. And then all in this area, there is kind of these round circular scales as well. And you can just take your acrylic marker, use a dark color. This is a dark blue, but you could use a dark teal, or if you wanted to use a black, you could do that as well. I'm just carefully making these little scales. And now I have another shade. This is like a teal color. And I'm also going to go around and continue to make some of these little round scale shapes where I would like them. And then kind of go around some of the areas of the eye. Okay, so kind of both sides we're getting these scale shapes, and try to make them random so that they're more natural. You can also vary the size, try to make some a little bit smaller and others a little bit larger. Okay, so we're going to be painting over these lines so they don't have to be too exact or too precise. And then in this area, there's kind of some bigger scale shapes. So I might kind of just make some lines there to kind of represent some bigger scales. And then on this side, we can have more rectangular scales. We can even go down here. Okay. And then I might add a little bit more of a darker color to some of these areas. Just kind of looking at where those dark values are. Kind of going around this eye. We just need a little bit more of a dark color. A little bit of shadow over here. And then this kind of comes up and is darker in value. And I'm covering up some of these lines that I made, but that's fine. It's just going to make things blend a little bit more easily, and it'll all blend together and look more natural when we're all done. Okay, so now the next step is let's add some of these kind of mid-tone values. And let's see here. So I want to add some of this bright green color. Let's put some of that in here. So I'm actually going to spray my paper. Let's give it a couple sprays. And I actually might switch brushes. Let's switch to a size 6 filbert. And I want to get quite a bit of water into the paint here. And just so that I have kind of a nice glaze to put down. And I'm going right over the blue paint. And if some of those colors kind of blend together, that's okay. So I'm going with the green on the top. And then I want to put some green paint along the bottom. I'm going right on top of that acrylic marker, and you can see how those scales are showing through nicely, which is exactly the effect that we wanted. And if we were to paint each one of those individual scales, it would have taken a very long time. Okay, so I'm putting in the green, and I can make some areas a little bit more of an intense green and some of the areas a little more watered down. I'm going to go over the eye here. Okay, and then I'm going to take this teal color, this beautiful teal, and then I'm going to put that in also as a wash. Before I did this painting, I tested out these colors and I made sure to kind of note which ones were transparent and which ones were not transparent. Because if they weren't transparent, they were just going to cover up all the work that we did with our scales. Okay, so I'm putting in this teal color. And I can go around the eye as well. Okay, so I think that looks good. So for the next step, I would let that dry a little bit before moving on. Okay, for the next step, we're going to add some opaque shades to this, and they're going to be fairly light. And let's take the size 0 spotter, and I'm going to mix up a opaque white color, but I want a little bit of tone in there, so I'm going to take a little bit of this moss green because I don't want it to be completely white. And let's see if we can add some lightest values in there. So I can do kind of some spots. I can go around the nostril, and I can go carefully over the lip area. That's kind of like his mouth. It's kind of like a beak. And then some of these areas here, I'm just going to kind of spot that opaque greenish color. And I'm just trying to hit those spots right in between the acrylic marker that we put in there. So the outlines for the dots. Just kind of putting little spots in those areas with this kind of greenish color. Okay, and I might come down here and put some little dots there. And then I could do that for this part. And you can see how that's giving us a nice kind of three-dimensional form. So now I can add a little bit of teal to some opaque white. And then go around and do some detail for the eye. So let's see if we can do an eyelid. Just kind of press down. Okay, and then I'm just going to do kind of those folds of the eye. And that's just going around on top of that darker color. All right. And then I'm going to do this kind of circle here, and then just circle around. And then we'll go inside these little scales with that opaque teal that we mixed up. Just making some little spots. Okay, and then I might take that and just kind of make some lines around that area. And I'll take some more opaque white, mix a little bit of green in there. And then let's see if we can kind of cover this area. I could also take some of this mossy green that's a little bit darker and a little bit more muted. Okay, and if I wanted to add a little bit more yellow, I can go and put some of this lemon yellow around the painting, just in a few select areas. Okay, so I want to bring a little bit more black into the eye. I think we overdid it a little bit too much, so I'm going to try to bring back some of the roundness of that eye. Okay. And then I'm going to take a little bit of opaque white. Let's try to put in the highlight of that eye. And then let's see if we could do kind of a highlight on top of that eyelid. Okay. And then kind of think about where else you might want to have highlighted. So maybe around the mouth, maybe up on the nose you have a couple points. Be over here. Be around the eyelid also. And we could put a little bit of a highlight on the cheek. Okay. All right, so I think we're gonna call that painting complete. So I hope you get to give it a try. It's kind of a good project to work with acrylic markers, try out some new tools. So I hope you try this one. Thank you so much for painting along with me. Like and subscribe for more videos, and we'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.